You found the WMIX Saturday Sports Show on AM 940 and WMIXsports.com. Cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. The Saturday Sports Show has been recognized by the Illinois Broadcasters Association as one of the top radio programs in the state. That means the very best mix of local sports content is right here. From the powerhouse on Broadway, the Saturday Sports Show starts now.
And good morning. Hard to believe it's another Saturday morning here, but it's time for the Saturday Sports Show. WMIX, WMIXsports.com. So glad to have you with us on what in the King City appears to be a very rainy Saturday morning. Chris Hugo with Danny Zerwinski. Jeff Crow is in studio. Courtesy of Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Pretty significant lineup for you coming your way this morning. Of course, we'll talk Mountford and Rams baseball with Tim Holloway. Mountford and Lady Rams softball with Coach Lance Bolt. We'll talk with Scott Haley. He's the head coach of Waltonville Sestravalier softball this year. Brett Blondie, of course, of the Benton Rangers. We'll talk his baseball team as the Rams set to play the Rangers on Monday. And then, of course, Brett Isaacs, another South 7 Conference baseball coach. Of course, he is from Altough. Rams will travel there on Thursday. And then on Friday, the Rams, of course, will travel to DuQuoin. We'll talk Indians baseball with Tim Kraft, and then some goings-on, of course, around Southern Illinois and high school sports. We'll have plenty of topics in discussion. We will also have your WMIX Sports social media question of the week. But before that, we'll get to this year's outgoing Black Diamond Conference president, Wade Thomas. We'll talk about the vote to accept Edwards County into the BDC. That came on Tuesday night in their conference meeting, and Edwards County now joins the Black Diamond Conference, of course, effective. They can play baseball and softball next season, but with football in 2016. And the Edwards County EC had voted actually to extend their 2-year notice to the Little Illini Conference last Friday night in their Board of Education meeting. It was a unanimous decision by Edwards County, and for all intents and purposes, everybody seems to think that Edwards County is going to be a good fit in the Black Diamond.
For now, they will fit. Now the question is everybody else going to stay, and is everybody else going to sit at home?
You know how you have those 1,000-piece puzzles, and you start to get aggravated after a while because they suck, and you just start to jam pieces in there and force them in there, but they don't really fit? That's kind of the feeling I get here. It's like the puzzle piece is not necessarily going into the right spot or necessarily fitting properly, but if you force it in there tight enough, everybody else kind of goes along with it.
I get what they're doing because athletic directors want football games on the schedule. But when you have to travel 2.5 hours, probably more by bus, to play a football game on a Friday night, Saturday afternoon, or whatever it will be, I don't know. I know they have to have somebody because they want that 9th football game and they want a closed conference, and the AD doesn't want to do any, doesn't want to have to worry about scheduling football games because it's football driven. But I don't know. I know Edwards County is a good fit because of football and whatever else wise, but a significant swing from, geographically speaking, there are more teams now east of 64 than there are west of 64. So the conference takes on a much different look now in how things are going to look as far as football goes and how football drives everything in sports no matter what level it is.
Well, and that certainly is the case. And, of course, you take a look at this. Edwards County will not be able to play football in the new conference setup, of course, until 2016. They can play spring sports because you could theoretically have a dual conference thing going on, of course, in 2014, 2015. And get yourself out of there that way. But effective 2016, 2017, Edwards County, of course, is in the Black Diamond Conference. They will be in the Black Diamond Conference East Division, while Vienna will slide over to the West. And we'll talk more about this, of course, with Wade Thomas, the BDC president, a little bit later on in the program. That'll come in the 9 o'clock hour. We need to talk Mountford and Rams baseball, of course, with Tim Holloway. Every pitch of Rams baseball here on WMIX. Should there be a postponement or cancellation today, we will let you know. Of course, very rainy in Southern Illinois. Some events already canceled, but I know they're going to try like heck to get that one in. A 1 o'clock pregame or 1 o'clock first pitch in Game 1 today of a doubleheader with the Mattoon Green Wave. 12:45 Game 1 pregame here on AM 940 and WMIXsports.com. Rams have got a nice little win yesterday over St. Teresa. First time those two schools have met up. The Rams beat St. Teresa 3-2, come from behind fashion. And the Rams get back to 500 with a 2-2-1 mark. Of course, we will talk about all of that with Tim Holloway coming up in just a little bit. But for the Rams, I think it was nice for them to get a win yesterday. Came in with some swagger to start, but got some brilliant pitching from Tyler Morgan.
Well, that was key. I think the defense will be there. I think the pitching will come around. It'll be what offense can Mount Vernon muster, especially not named Tommy Weber. Once that's done, once the offense starts rolling and these guys figure out you can play at this level and you can get things done, then confidence, the swagger, as I like to mention, will come around, and this Mount Vernon team will get things going. But they're going to learn. I mean, it's a young team. You're either going to look really good one day, you're going to look bad the next. As they say, you're going to look like veterans playing one day, and you're going to look young the next. So this Mount Vernon team has a lot to learn. A busy week. If everything holds out, you play one yesterday, two today, and then you have single games Monday through Friday next week with a conference game on Thursday at Althoff. So this Mount Vernon team is going to be baptized specifically by fire next week because there's some very good teams on the schedule in the next few games.
Well, certainly some of our coaches can relate to that. Of course, we'll talk with Brett Blondie of the Benton Rangers a little bit later. His team, of course, 2-5 out of the gate. But like the Rams, play some very, very, very tough competition. Should be a dandy from Uvalde Field on Monday when those two teams will get together. Well, of course, we have Tim Holloway coming up here on the Saturday Sports Show. We also have your WMIX Sports social media question of the week coming your way. Find it on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. We're on the Twitterverse as well. Give us a follow at WMIX Sports. We need to take a break on the Saturday Sports Show. When we come back, we'll have Tim Holloway, head coach of Mount Vernon Rams baseball here. WMIX, WMIXsports.com, presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Mount Vernon is home to many wonderful people and things, and that includes quality cardiac care from Dr. Ruzaik Ibrahim, a skilled cardiologist. Dr. Ibrahim's training and scientific accomplishments have earned his designation as a Fellow of the American College of Cardiology. His services range from preventative care to the treatment of advanced heart conditions. For an appointment with Dr. Ibrahim at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 241-9071 or visit in person at 4113 South Water Tower, Mount Vernon.
Learn to live healthy, learn to live well, and learn how you can live free from unexpected medical expense with a major medical expense policy from Pekin Insurance and the Page Agency. Health insurance that covers hospital, medical, and surgical expenses offers a wide choice of deductibles and a non-tobacco user discount too. Rising medical costs don't have to be a problem with a major medical expense policy from Pekin Insurance. This is coverage we hope you'll never need, but you just can't be without. Call the Page Agency at 242-7000 about a major medical health insurance plan today.
Are the features with your free checking account disappearing? Hi, this is Nina Reitnauer, Relationship Banker with People's National Bank in Mount Vernon. A free checking account from People's National Bank includes unlimited check writing, no minimum balance requirements, online banking, bill pay, a Visa check card, and only takes $100 to open. Stop by People's National Bank and get the free checking account you deserve.
People's National Bank, serving Southern Illinois since 1909. Member FDIC, non-usage fees may apply. The Chevrolet Open House event is going on now at Schmidt Chevrolet of Mount Vernon. Come see the finest American engineered and manufactured lineup of great vehicles, which come with free maintenance for 2 years or 24,000 miles, 336 bumper-to-bumper, and 5-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Toyota, Ford, and Chrysler can't touch this. Come to Schmidt Chevrolet of Mount Vernon, 3423 Broadway in Mount Vernon.
Welcome back. Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXsports.com. It's presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
That's Danny Zawinski. I'm Chris Hugo in studio with you till 10 o'clock, ready to talk some Mount Vernon Rams baseball with head coach Tim Holloway. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
You know, it has to be a great morning, of course, hoping to get 2 games in today, but more importantly, get a win yesterday, of course, over St. Teresa. It was a 3-2 final, of course, a come-from-behind victory. I thought it featured good pitching, and some offense came alive as well in that particular game, and for the Rams, able to get back to 500.
Yeah, we had some things go well. You know, it all starts with pitching and defense, and you can hit all you want, but if you can't pitch or play defense, you're going to have a hard time winning. So, obviously, we need to do a better job at the plate. I thought we had that yesterday. We limited our strikeouts, and that's going to have to be an emphasis the rest of the season. It's just putting the ball in play gave us a chance for them to make some mistakes and get some things going.
Outside of Brock Fulkerson, did you expect the pitching to be this good so far this season?
Yeah, I really did. Tyler Morgan threw strikes last year, and when you throw 3 pitches for strikes, especially in our park, and I feel like our guys will play good defense, and then I feel like, we have a chance to win. But we have some other guys who are going to need to throw this week, and they look good inside on the mound, and we just need to get them out there in some game situations and get the feet wet on the mound. So I hope that pitching is one of our strengths again.
What did your team learn from the game Wednesday? I thought my thought is you learned how to play the game a little bit. You able to compete on the road against a pretty good team. But in your opinion, what did your team learn from the game on Wednesday?
Well, after the first game, we talked a lot about, and then after Civic as well. It's always been about not giving up free bases for us in our program. And if you walk people, if you make errors, if you don't do the little things, you're going to get beat. It comes down to who doesn't beat themselves. And we go over to Waterloo and play, I think this is our fourth game in a row without an error, but counting yesterday, but we go over there, play error-free for 10 innings, walk one guy, and we have a chance to win, Hopefully, the young bats will come around, and we had better at-bats yesterday, just, a better two-strike approach. I saw over at Waterloo that we're taking long, wild swings with two strikes, and that can't happen. And we changed some things, and it's going to be a process with that. But hopefully by the end of, the end of the month, end of the year, or the end of April, we're going the right way with that.
Well, and of course, you take a look at the schedule and talk about going the right way. You're a proponent of playing as tough of a schedule as you could possibly handle to prepare yourself for the postseason. This week, of course, appears to be a pretty tough week. You have the Benton Rangers, a pretty good 2A program. You have the Effingham Flaming Hearts coming on Tuesday, the annual battle with Montini, and, of course, Thursday, always tough, Altoff, and Friday, heading to Du Quoin. This, of course, is after a doubleheader at Mattoon today. Probably one of the toughest weeks on the Rams' schedule coming up early in the season.
Oh, definitely. It's always tough. Early in the season we schedule quite a few games. You figure you're going to get a few rainouts, and that has not been the case so far. But it's fine, and we'll go in there and throw them out there and see what we're made of and see how guys respond, and we'll know a lot more, going into the next week after this week.
Well, and of course, going into the conference season finally, that starts on Thursday on the road at Altoff. Many of the guys, some of the guys were there last year to witness that tie that was canceled out due to rain. Of course, it was only going to be finished if it was necessary for the conference standings. It's a similar situation to Waterloo, though that was due to darkness. Do some of these kids remember that, and does that make them a little bit more hungry to open up the conference season in a place to where they could not get a win or a loss last year?
Well, I don't know. It's we only have a few guys back from that. I'm sure they didn't feel real good about that tie, and there's a couple of them that were on that team, but with the whole new ball club going over to Altoff, and it is a lot like Waterloo. They're a pretty solid senior type ball club. You just go over there and you believe you get the job done, and I think that it's going to be interesting to see how we react to that. I feel like our guys are going the right direction, and they can go over there and have success if they do the little things right.
Speaking of success and little things, your team was officially announced today that you get to host a regional for the first time in a long time. What does that mean to you and your program to get to play a little postseason on your home field this year in May?
Well, it's great. It's something we wanted to do. We feel like we have a good place to play, and we've traditionally played pretty well at home, and obviously you would rather be at home. So it's exciting. I feel like we have the right people that take care of things and that can do a good job with that.
Speaking of down the road, as Chris mentioned, our conference. Seeing a lot of games, seeing a lot of teams get out and play so far the first 2 weeks. Is anybody that's caught your eye conference-wise so far this season with the way they've started their season?
No, I haven't. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention. I know that pretty much who has what back, and there's some teams with some good pitching, and there are some good teams overall. So nothing's going to be easy. It never is. A lot of it comes down to who's 1 and 2 throws well that day, who makes the plays, and who gets the 2-out hits. So, we've had a nice run in the conference, but a lot of those games have been very close, been very tough. So, nothing's really changed.
Of course, obviously it's the elephant in the room right now. It's rained a little bit down here. Have you been able to have any talk with Coach Jackley or Dave Veith from Mattoon? Is everything okay up there? Are we going to be blessed enough to get this one in today?
I'm going to talk to Coach here pretty soon, probably in the next 30 minutes. We're going to check our field as well. I know Coach Clark's been out there. The JV game is supposed to be the Brendan Klein field, so I'll give Coach a holler here soon. And we're not leaving till 10, and I believe they're in the same boat. So we'll definitely make a decision before 10 o'clock.
Final question for you before we let you get off and get on the phone with other people is our social media question of the week, and this week's question is, what is your favorite HGTV program to watch?
HGTV.
Yeah.
Is that the vacation? What channel is that? I don't watch much TV. Help me out.
That's the channel with all the house decor, designing, tearing down, buying houses, all that stuff.
If there's a show on there, one of those shows, they go to tropical places and they're looking to buy a house. I don't know what it's called or if that's even a channel, but if that's in the fall, when I have a little time, that's a show I like to watch. Those people buying those homes on those islands and nice, sunny, tropical places.
Is that Property Hunters?
No.
Is that what that is?
I don't
is that
know.
what it is?
I don't know. We'll have to do some research. I've seen it a million
times.
times.
I don't know. I'm not up on HGTV, so I gave you my best there.
No, that's good, because I know what he's talking about, but I can't think of it.
Exactly. And I always wonder how those people have that much jack to spend on those, because a lot of times they're just vacation homes.
Oh, they probably started an internet business several years ago, and they're in pretty good shape. So,
Coach, hopefully we'll see you in Mattoon today. Good luck to the Rams, and, of course, we'll see you all next week as well.
All right, guys. Thank you.
That is Tim Holloway, head coach of Mount Vernon Rams baseball. I know what he's talking about. I've probably watched it a million times myself. I
have to find it.
Because I don't think it's Property Hunters, because that's more domestic. And Canada. Because a lot of those shows are created in Canada. Homes on Homes started in Canada.
House Hunters International?
Yes.
No. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yes. I knew it was something Hunters. Pretty good program. That one did not start in Canada. That's from the good old US of A, of course.
That's why I say I think everybody can answer this question today. I don't care who you are.
Whether they want to admit it or not, they probably can.
I can answer it. So,
well, here's the thing. You ever notice how most of our great TV programs originated in Canada? Like at least on cable or satellite, not the over-the-air broadcast programs, because we ripped half of those off from Great Britain. But there's just a lot of good stuff coming from north of the border. There you go. Of course, Rams baseball, busy week next week, but if they get those two in today, that'll be a good test. Hopefully get to see some guys that may not normally get action weekdays, get some games in a doubleheader today. And this is a nice little rivalry matchup between two schools that have been playing each other for quite a long time and hoping to get it in today. But not only that, you look at next week, and it's loaded for bear just like every other week for Rams baseball. So, I have a feeling this is going to be the type of season that, once the bats start to get ironed out and they start to heat up a little bit, I think it's a case where the record may not match how good of a team this is.
That's what I said. They're going to learn early. They're going to take some lumps early, as they have. And I think by the end of the year, it's a work in progress. You can work with youngsters. You don't have to have veterans every year. You can work with youngsters and get to where you want to be by the time postseason starts.
Exactly. And, of course, the Rams hosting a regional this year. I think you have to be pretty stoked about that and just happy to be able to play a postseason series at home. And if you can claim a regional title on your home field, that's a great thing. The last regional held at Mount Vernon, of course, was won by Nathan Doris and the Marion Wildcats. Doris would have been a junior. And, of course, he is now in the Cubs organization. We need to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with Lance Bolt about his Lady Rams softball team. Tough start to this season. They're 0-4, but almost got that first win against Olney on Thursday. We had it for you on WMIX, WMIXsports.com. We are with them next Saturday as they head to the Vandalia tournament, but they have plenty of action before then. We'll talk about it with Coach Bolt coming up after the break. Saturday Sports Show, courtesy of Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
This is Chase Landers with Landers Collision Centers. Imagine this. You're driving down the road. It's dark as can be outside. Thank goodness you just had that left headlight bulb replaced. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see a thing. Now, close your eyes. Okay, don't close your eyes. You're supposed to be driving. Imagine noticing a slight twinkle off to the left, just above the ditch. What is that, you think to yourself? All of a sudden, whap! You've just encountered your first deer hit. The left side of your vehicle is beat up pretty bad. The next thing I want you to imagine is very simple. Picking up your phone and dialing 1-888-LANDERS to set up your repair. Deer claims are common. and usually a very simple process, which fall under comprehensive coverage. This is Chase Landers asking you to allow Landers to be your collision repair shop of choice. Whether it be a deer hit, fender bender, or the regular, uh-oh, sorry mom, Landers is here for you whenever you need us. Big or small, Landers fixes them all. 1-888-LANDERS, that's 1-888-LANDERS.
Your spine is a miracle of engineering, so when pain strikes, your body is telling you to get help fast. The Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois is proud to feature their spine care team. Doctors Kowalski and Smith, the professionals at Orthopedic Center, specialize in back and neck pain. So put our spine care team on the job. Find out more online at orthocenter-si.com. Stop the pain, fix the problem, and enjoy life again. The Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois.
Hi, this is Joe David Cummins, President of Community First Bank. Now is a great time to move your account to Community First Bank. With our new One Account offering the highest interest rate in the market, free checking, and CD specials delivered by people you know and trust, why would you not bank with the market leader in Jefferson County? We offer 5 locations with 7 ATMs and have been serving the Jefferson County market since 1906. Stop in and see why our bank is the fastest growing bank in Jefferson County. Community First Bank, welcome back to personal banking. Member FDIC.
Welcome back, WMIX, WMIXSports.com, the Saturday Sports Show presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
You bet it is. Of course, Lady Rams softball 0-4 to start the year, but that record is kind of deceiving. Of course, went 0-2 in the Fairfield tournament last Saturday. You heard both games on WMIX, WMIXSports.com. Of course, lost a tough one to Heron, who's going to be pretty good this year. And then lost to Marshall, 7-3 in that one. Fell to Woodlawn on Monday, and then a tough one on the road at Olney on Thursday, losing 9-8. So Lady Rams season probably not off to the start they want to be, but they'll have a chance on Monday to take on another county team and see if they can get that first win of the season when they play Waltonville Cesar at home. But for the Lady Rams, of course, DC, tough start to the season. And obviously not wanting to complain about weather, but, it's tough to go out and play in the conditions in which they played on Monday and do much of anything. And thankfully, of course, everybody was at better judgment. Of course, canceled the second games of the Jefferson County Invitational on Monday afternoon. But all in all, it's just been kind of a tough start, but these are the games that you learn from.
Games you learn from, important situations. I think the conditions Monday, there comes a point in the line where you just have to call it and just get off the field. Nobody's comfortable. You have equipment. Bats aren't cheap these days, as people will tell you. $400 worth of bats out there that could crack at any moment. So it's one of those deals where you had to call it. But again, everybody got a game in at least. That was the most important thing. So it's one of those deals where Mount Vernon gets out and loses to Woodlawn, but again, you at least get a game in. They got a game at Olney. This Thursday was close. They're going to get some competition in next week for they head to Vandalia for that tournament next Saturday.
Well, they are, and of course, when you look at Lady Rams softball, you had a game in which they led 4-0 in the first inning, ripped and roared 4 runs. Coach Bolt made some adjustments to the lineup, of course, trying to ignite, and of course through Lauren Heinzman and Jasmine Hawkins, and that paid dividends, of course, early on. But right now the struggle seems to be just the ladies hitting their spots pitching-wise and being able to mix up pitches and things of that nature. But you have a feeling that if that starts to come around, this could be a very formidable foe, of course, in the South. And with Heron being 3A now, that's going to be your primary competition in a regional, depending upon where everybody go. Baseball assignments are out. We know some of the sites in softball, but the softball assignments aren't out. So if you're looking at a possibility, because Massac should still be 2A, you're looking at a possibility of Lady Rams, Heron, Carbondale, and Marion, and we'll see how the conference schedule goes. But, if the Lady Rams can improve, there's a possibility maybe a regional championship over the Heron Lady Tigers or something of that ilk, given what we've seen coming back, of course, from some of the other South 7 Conference schools. But a lot of work going to have to be done over time, and sometimes that can happen overnight, over a couple weeks, or maybe over the course of the season, or maybe it doesn't happen at all. But for the Lady Rams, of course, a nice returning experience. Of course, Rachel Wright, Hannah Wright, Mallory Garner, and I'm going to do this and forget somebody, and I apologize. Micaiah Rush back out in center field, of course. But you take a look at what they have coming back, and you take a look at some of the new blood in there as well. and kind of hoping for some learning experiences along the way. And, of course, you get a new matchup with a new team in the Olney East Richland Lady Tigers on Thursday. You add some tournaments to the schedule this year, of course, heading to Vandalia, where you'll see St. Elmo, Brownstown, and T-Town next Saturday. Of course, you have the Waltonville-Sestervalier game on Monday, also going to Althoff on Thursday. So you take a look at what the Lady Rams schedule appears to be over this coming week, over the next few weeks, and things are going to get a little tougher, and much like Rams baseball, baptism by fire.
Interesting. I'm always interested that TBA can host so many postseason events. That's got to be a huge school.
So like I said earlier, how hard
multiple
is it?
Satellite campuses.
How hard is it to find regionals? And, of course, we have to wait for softball assignments till at least April the 4th. And I know it's not the easiest job on the face of the earth, don't get me wrong, but are there that many schools that have no interest whatsoever?
Yes.
Okay, then.
Yes.
Simple answer.
From the school side of view, you have to bring in personnel. You have to get people to do it.
That's true. The economy
You have
doesn't
to
bode well
get
for it,
people to work overtime. You got to pay time and a half on a Saturday. You've got to get people to clean it up. Yeah.
That's what drives me nuts.
And it's a non-revenue sport, so you're not making a lot of money to charge. So you're not going to get a big crowd on, for example, from the Mount Vernon perspective, Memorial Day weekend on a Saturday, you're not going to get anybody. I mean, you're going to get who's there, but the crowd isn't going to be that big. I mean, you might get a sectional with Nashville, DuQuoin last year where people are standing all the way around the fence or whatever, Nashville and Massac County. But, it's just people don't want to host anymore. And, I mean, that's why the same schools keep coming up for hosting because, schools don't have the resources, don't want to spend it, don't want to waste their time. Now, the flip side of that is, if you're a school that has facilities that wants to host the money sports, you need to start hosting these little ones so you can work your way toward getting one of the money sport regionals.
And that's what drives me nuts. When does overtime take effect? Does it take effect like after the school days? Does it depend on shift, depend on how your schedule's set up?
I mean, if you get, in basketball, football's different. I mean, for example, in football season, you have guys and gals that work for the school that probably get there at 7, 7:30, 8. And on a football night, if they have to stick around for some reason, leave at 11, 11:30. When you're bringing in, for example, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, you have to have a ticket taker. You've got to have a scoreboard. You got to have PA. You got to have somebody supervising. You've got to have somebody maintenance. I mean, if it rains and you want to get it done, you got to have, there's a whole ball of wax that goes into this, and then you throw in the fact if it's a weekend, Saturday regional final on Memorial Day weekend, who's wanting to give up their time on a 3-day weekend to come in and work at a school and an event?
And that's the part that drives me insane is that if you could theoretically get away without paying overtime, maybe on a weeknight under lights or something like that. I don't know how that part of it works, but I'm just saying who says you have to have it on Saturday? I know that's something that IHSA has kind of allowing you to choose like a certain matrix of schedules.
Well, that's the way it's set up.
And that's the part of it that drives me nuts. The fact that you shouldn't, you have baseball and softball often at the same time involving the same teams. That's always driven me nuts. We got lucky one year, I think, in the 2011 sectional where the Lady Rams played at 11 and the Rams played at 1, thankfully, in the same town. So that worked out. And they were very smart about it because they do things right in that particular community. However, what drives me insane is just the sheer fact that there's so much that is dictated that doesn't have to be, that makes it tougher, and that is a lot of why schools don't want to have
10
to deal with it.
10 a.m. regional or sectional finals drive me bonkers, too.
Yes.
10 a.m., really?
Because if you figure it's a sectional, odds are there's a team driving at least an hour and a half, 2 hours to get there these days in the 4-class system. So you're leaving by 8. If you're trying to get warmed up, doing the things to properly, of course, health-wise, get ready to go for a game, you have to leave it a lot earlier than that because you want to get there. If you're a fan, you're leaving about 8. If you're the team, you might have to leave 7, 7:30. And I know there's sports, cross country, track, wrestling, activities that have to get up super, 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 super early to do that frequently. But I just hate that it has to be that way for any sport, anything.
If you're not going to make any money,
that's the worst part.
And I don't know. And again, we saw in basketball postseason, people aren't traveling anyway. And they're not going. You could have got in a sectional final DuQuoin wherever you wanted, basically. Not wherever you wanted, but you could have,
on the
there were seats. So you translate that to May. It's warm. It's summer. 1A, 2A's the weekend before Memorial Day. A lot of schools start, well, not this year. Schools seem to get out, but then Memorial Day weekend, it's hard to find people to work, and it's hard to find people to do anything when that school's not going to make any money. I mean, that's, and again, if you're have a school big enough to host volleyball, golf, cross country, track, baseball, softball, basketball, all the postseason you can host, I think schools have to do that to prove the IHSA, hey, we want this. But it's amazing to me how many people do not host or do not want to host that could host because, and I know what it is, they don't make money. There's not enough of that coming in for them to go, well, we'll go ahead and start. Especially baseball, softball. It's not like basketball. You know what's going to happen unless it snows. If, like this morning in May, you get up and it rains Friday night and you got to spend X number of times getting out there and you got to hope you have enough people to help, enough diamond dry, enough equipment to get things going. That's a lot of people involved for that.
And where it becomes a tough pill to swallow is when your team's not even playing. Say it rains on that Friday night for a regional championship Saturday and your team's not even in it. I mean, it's much harder to deal with that. And I think the thing with outdoor sports especially baseball and softball, since you don't normally charge admission, is some of these facilities that decide to host or are able to host, you mentioned a ticket taker.
Right.
It sometimes has to become multiple ticket takers because
like
there might be
Heron.
15,000 ways in and out.
Heron has 2 entrances. They had to do 2 last year because they had baseball and softball at the same time. Mount Vernon this year, you could charge because there's one way in, one way out. You could actually slide in. Never mind.
Yeah. There's ways to get in without paying because there is no perfect way to block all entrances into a baseball or softball facility, depending upon how it's set up.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said. And then if you don't charge,
yeah, and
you're losing money.
And then you must because you have a certain cut goes back to the association.
Oh yeah, nonprofit, but. You don't make money when you host, and I'm not knocking these sports when I say this. You do not make money when you host golf, volleyball, baseball, softball. You don't do it. Track, you can do it. You can wean people in through a gate like cattle. But in basketball, you'll make money a little bit. But if if gyms aren't sold out for sectional finals, how in the world are you going to make money for baseball, softball? You're not going to do it.
You're exactly right. And, of course, I've had a couple of local superintendents chime in. Overtime is just like any other job. It begins after 40 hours in the week as far as weekdays are concerned.
Weekends.
So if you could avoid having it on a weekend when you wouldn't have to do that and have it on night, maybe adjust schedules. But I know you have to deal with unions and things like that. It's just a crazy, imperfect system that there's not an easy solution.
That's what I said. I mean, with baseball, softball, it's Memorial Day weekend. Sectionals or regionals, and how many people want to give up a Memorial Day weekend to come out and get paid?
Sure.
I don't know
You're
what the IHSA pays.
Heavily on volunteers.
$50.
A lot of people
sit out there.
Not a lot of people willing to give up their time, especially to volunteer.
Not on a weekend.
It's not happening.
You got to get the right group of people together and. These, again, that's why I said TBA. I mean, there's got to be people that want to host, and then if you want to host the big boy events, the money making events, you need to host some of the littler ones. So the IHSA takes notice of how you do things, because they really don't want to turn over a sectional to people that for basketball that may or may not have ever hosted before.
There's a reason your Herons, your Centralias of the world get to host quite a few things.
Well, they got facilities.
They have facilities, and they host just about anything that they're asked to host. Salem's the same way. Have the facilities, but we'll host the little things as well. Of course, we need to take a break on the Saturday Sports Show. We'll return to talking high school baseball, I believe, or no, softball. We have Scott Haley to come after the break here on the Saturday Sports Show. We'll talk Waltonville, Sestreville, Spartans, softball coming up. Presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
The health of your kidneys has a big impact on your overall health, affecting everything from your blood pressure to your bones. And if you ever have a kidney problem, Dr. Kangura is here to help. Dr. Kangura trained at the Mayo Clinic and specializes in conditions ranging from kidney stones and uncontrolled high blood pressure to chronic kidney disease. Dr. Kangura sees patients at Crossroads Specialty Clinic. For an appointment, call 618-241-9071.
Raise your hand if you're tired of showing up for a service appointment only to sit around a waiting room. Hi, Roy Schmidt, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer at King City Chrysler Center. Our express lane fast oil changes and more provide quick, convenient service with no appointment needed. Our specialists are on hand to wait on you with lanes dedicated just for your oil changes, tire rotation, brake inspections, batteries, bulbs, wiper blades, air filter replacements, and more. We will also perform complimentary vehicle inspection with every oil change. We work around your schedule, open weekdays from 7:30 until 5 and Saturdays from 8 a.m. until noon. See Express Lane Fast Oil Changes and more for all of your service needs, and we will get you back on the road quick. We're located at King City Chrysler Center at 1603 Broadway in Mount Vernon, Illinois. Just another reason you can count on us.
Welcome you back on the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com, presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Our next guest is the head coach of Waltonville Sesverlier softball. He's Scott Haley. Coach, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Of course, taking things over there at Waltonville Sesverlier, WSV. You start your season, of course, last Thursday with Grayville. Then you have a 3-team triangular with Nashville and DuPont, and then the Jefferson County Invite. You get half of the games in there. Kind of a nice start to the Lady Spartans season, of course, and then this week with Fairfield and Carterville before going entirely 3A next week. Tough start for the Spartans, but a good start nonetheless.
Yeah, our schedule here at the beginning of the season is not too easy. I mean, it's mostly bigger schools than we are, and pretty good competition.
Having coached baseball at the high school level and now softball, what's one difference you've noticed already so far in just 2 weeks of softball season?
Oh, it's a lot faster. It seems like every aspect of the game's a little bit quicker, a little bit faster than baseball games. I think there was some baseball games where we was out there 3 hours, and softball seems to go quite a bit quicker.
You get in a unique situation. Waltonville hosts softball, Sesverlier co-ops. You work at Sesverlier. How does that all go together as far as the girls coming down, getting together, and playing together as far as softball goes compared to basketball?
Well, the girls, just as far as the girls getting along and everything, it works out great. They're friends off the field as well. I think this year we got 6. We only had 12 in the whole entire program. We got 6 and 6. 6 from Chester, 6 from Waltonville. They mesh well together. Now, as far as the distance, travel, and sort of that sort of thing, it becomes difficult sometimes on, for example, this past week, Waltonville was on spring break, Chester wasn't, so you've got, they're not school-wise the same, and then in a couple of weeks, Waltonville will be going to school, and Chester will be on spring break, so some of that gets difficult at times, but, we do the best we can do.
Talk about some of the kids you're going to rely on this spring to help get a lot of wins for your program.
Like I said, we have 12. We have 6 freshmen and 6 juniors. So we don't have a sophomore or senior on the team. I'd say we pretty well got one pitcher, Gretchen Witter, who's a freshman, and she's thrown every game so far this year, all 6 of them. So we're going to obviously rely heavily on her to do the majority of the pitching duties. And with our schedule, like I said, it's she's just going to get better every game. Juniors returning that played a lot last year. I think there's 5 of them that played quite a bit last year. So we're going to obviously rely heavily on those juniors to not only offensively and defensively, but to help these younger 6 learn a little bit and hopefully bring them along.
Bringing them along in the conference season, Midland Trail Conference softball this year, new in your first year. Who do you see right now as a favorite and maybe your team to win that Midland Trail Conference?
You know what? I'd like to think our chances are pretty good. I know while we was playing Mount Vernon last week, we was playing DuQuoin. I seen Woodlawn beat Mount Vernon 12-2, so just by looking at their scores, I think they've been hitting the ball pretty well, so I'd say they're probably going to be pretty tough competition to beat in the conference as well.
Also, in April, a couple of weeks from now, you host the Waltonville Invitational on a Saturday. Talk about the teams you're going to have in that.
It is Waltonville, and you know what? Honestly, I think it's still it's Wayne City, Edwards County, and I believe it's Marissa this year. He wasn't 100% sure on Marissa, but I believe it is us, Wayne City, Edwards County, and Marissa.
Your team with a big week next week, 3A schools, obviously. But again, before we let you go, we're going to ask you our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. And this week's question is, what is your favorite HGTV program to watch? And I know you watch.
I watch quite a few of them. I like Property Brothers.
See? Nice. That's the one I take in every week.
I like Property Brothers, yep. I would say that's my number one, probably.
You got any chances of doing what they do in the future, or just going to watch them do it?
No, I'll sit and watch them from my recliner.
Coach, that is the best way. Tough week, of course, coming up for the Spartans. We wish you the best of luck.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That is Scott Haley, one of the good guys, of course. Waltonville, Sestervalier softball head coach. And, of course, they have a tough stretch coming up this week, as we told you. Mount Vernon, Heron, Salem in no particular order, actually in that order. Mount Vernon, of course, on the road. That'll be at the Cusimano Sports Complex on Monday, and then Heron and Salem at least at home. But then you go to Goreville the following week. And kind of one of the things I wonder is, you know, we talk about often in basketball, of course, when you have Woodlawn and Waltonville, of course, meet up with Sester, there's some familiarity there. But the thing that I've always wondered about is when you look at SVW girls basketball playing in the Black Diamond, then WSV softball playing in the Midland Trail, you start to see some of those opponents in conference games with not a lot of familiarity, because in the other girls' sport you just played in a totally different conference, may not have seen any of these people to have any type of recognition. I've always wondered about that. But
it's a tough mix. I mean,
it's not easy.
And you have to coordinate so well. I think that in these co-op situations, and it doesn't matter which schools are involved, or, you know, when football was Sesterville, Waltonville, Woodlawn, a tri-op situation, that the program runs as smooth as all the schools will let it run. And I think you will get out of it what you put into it. There are things to do. And I think for the longest time, ZR and Christopher were the gold standard of teams that co-opt around here, how they did things. And I think Sesterville, Waltonville, Woodlawn's kind of going towards that direction now, and have been for a little bit, getting everybody together on the same page, getting everybody to do the same things, getting everybody to do what they need to do as far as getting those programs that they co-op together running. I think it's important because the bottom line is this. There are kids that are playing sports at both schools, and Woodlawn would be all three, that would not have the chance without this co-op. And I think that's the most important thing to look at it that way.
Exactly right. Of course, we need to talk Benton Rangers baseball with Brett Blondie, head coach of the Rangers. Rams will see them on Monday at Evaldi Field in Benton. This is a Saturday Sports Show presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. Don't forget the social media question of the week. It's on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. Show presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Okay, I was just waiting because I jumped over. It's what healthcare should be.
Yeah, I forgot to do
Well, I know
earlier.
you started, and I went.
Yeah. And I forgot the social media question. It's like, hey, pimp that real quick.
Got to stage my words carefully today.
Why, because you're so excited about last night?
No. Last night's over and done. Now it's time to go on to the next one.
I said last night, and mark my words, and I'll be wrong. I said if they win last night, they're going to the title game. That's an exciting game, though. I mean, I was jacked. I didn't care either way, except I did because I had important things writing on it. But, I mean, outside of that, incredible game. Anyhow.
Just tell little brother.
See you later.
Go home. Thanks.
Hey, I was, yeah.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Oh, and who? 0-2. Coach Calderick.
Oh, man. We need to take a break. We're back after these.
I'm Kevin Snyder with a look at your next rad weather. A little rain early this morning, then clouds will give way to some sun. Today we'll have a high 53. Cold night with patchy clouds, low 29. Sunny skies tomorrow. Warmer with a high 64 and a low tomorrow night of 39. Breezy day Monday with cloudy to partly sunny skies. A shower or thunderstorm around in the evening. We'll have a high of 71 and a low 44. Next Rad Weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Feed me, Seymour. Red Lake College's production of the cult classic Little Shop of Horrors is coming Thursday through Sunday, April the 3rd through the 6th, to the Red Lake College Theater in Ina. This musical is a spoof of the 1960 film about a Skid Row floral assistant who discovers a carnivorous plant. As the meat-eating plant grows, so do the problems. Thursday through Saturday performances are at 7 p.m. and a Sunday matinee is at 2 p.m. Tickets are only $12. Call the Red Lake College box office at 437-5321, extension 1467.
A digestive problem can affect every area of your life. But now there's a specialist right here in town who focuses on digestive health. Mayo Clinic trained Dr. Tegpal Atwal has opened the only gastroenterology clinic in Mount Vernon. Dr. Atwal treats acid reflux, gallbladder problems, inflammatory bowel disease, ulcers, and more. For your appointment with Dr. Atwal at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 618-241-9071.
Welcome back, Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com, presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
There we go. Brett Blondie, of course, is the head coach of the Benton Rangers. They are 2-5 on the year, but 2 quality wins for the program. We welcome Coach Blondie to the program. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You know what? Rangers, of course, always a good 2A team, always a good program, but I know 2-5 to start the year, but you guys play one heck of a tough schedule.
Well, yeah, we played some good ball clubs, and never happy with 2-5. But our kids have competed pretty hard, and we played Granite City, which is a big school from a good conference. And they had some really good players. We played them on Wednesday night. They touched up Dakota Head, who's our number one, and our kids continue to battle and try to chip away. And we had opportunities offensively and defensively to come back in the game. And early in the season, that's what we want our kids to be able to do, is just compete and work through some adversity. That way, if we play the tougher, bigger schools at the beginning of the season, they kind of give us a shot when we start to play our 2A league and in the postseason later on. So, I'm hoping that'll pay off, and the kids have done a good job and have good attitudes. And so, we're disappointed with our record, and we thought that we would be a little bit better than where we're at. But we learned some things about our guys, the first week and a half, 2 weeks of the season. And so hopefully that good feedback will be able to turn into some wins later on down the road.
Spring so far, how has your spring schedule been for a couple weeks as far as getting outside and getting games in?
Well, today is the first day that we've had to cancel a game. We've gotten all of our games in, which the first week we played 5 games, which is a bunch, but we kept the same schedule as last year with a couple modifications and added a couple new teams to it. But I like playing a lot of games that first week because all of our kids play basketball and wrestle, so we don't get we've got a few guys that work out throughout the winter, but for evaluation purposes, being able to figure out where they're at, we just play a bunch. And for me, whenever I played as a player, I was like, being a game. I didn't, nobody liked to practice as much, so we weren't able to get out on the field before we played much. But then once we started playing, we played Carterville on the Tuesday, DuQuoin on Wednesday, Salem on Thursday, Zion Benton 2 on Saturday. So we were able to get out on the field and play those first, week and a half, 2 weeks. And then, I talked to some of my buddies when I got up north that, I texted or emailed one back and forth yesterday and asked them how things were going, and they hadn't been able to play yet. So we're very fortunate to have at least played 7 games, and although the wins and losses haven't been there, our kids are able to play and get better, so that's positive.
program has been able to run some talent through and through in the last 3 or 4 years. Last year, regional final, won a regional in 12, won a regional in 11. How does that help out that you're also at the junior high and also coach the high school to kind of keep that going? How does that help out in the long run?
Well, I'd say, I came into a situation where, you talk about some of our guys that we've had. I mean, we had a really good class back in 12, and we had good kids at 11 and 10 and whatnot. They had come through. Coach Roper had been there before I was there and done a real good job establishing the program and the Little League and those types of things. So I kind of came into a pretty good situation. And what we've tried to do, at the junior high, we try to keep things, a lot of the terminology and a lot of the expectations very similar so that they're able to come up through high school and things aren't changing. But I tell you, it's funny because, we have to reteach every year. And, but this year it was we've got a real good freshman kid, Derek Oxford, that, we're scrimmaging one day in practice, and one of the things that we hadn't gone over, he just did. And it's usually something that, we usually don't get to until about week 3 or week 4, and he had it down in week 2, and so we were real happy with that, but he's a smart kid. But some of the other ones, not that we don't have other smart kids, but some of the other ones, we got to go back over it again, but it enables them to understand sooner what they're able to do. We got juniors that have been doing the same relays and tandems and double cuts and different things for 4 years now, or for 5 since we've been doing junior high ball too. And they'll get lost, every now and again. I'll always see them say, who in the world was your junior high coach? I mean, did he not teach you this stuff? But they get it a lot quicker. So that helps, the things that we had to go over and teach my first couple of years, that retention wasn't there, and then it would be something that we would have to continue to teach and continue to hammer on throughout the season, whereas now we're able to teach it, go back over it, check it out during the game, make any types of adjustments, and the kids have got, the thing that I'm proud of about our coaching staff, we've got real good guys that help and coach and whatnot, is the fact that, our kids typically get better throughout the year, and that's, from a high school perspective, that's all that we can ask for is our kids to get better and to listen and to work hard and care about what we're doing. And ours have done that, and I think it's played into, some success that the kids have been able to enjoy. And hopefully, we've got good young kids coming up, and, I like where our Little League's at. And, everybody's kind of sticking together. We got, in our Little League, we just started, this travel ball, this new phenomenon that has kind of taken over baseball, similar, I think, to probably AAU basketball and those types of things. And you've got kids that get scattered, and it's unfortunate because, you may, your top 2 or 3, are getting some good ball in and good exposure, but you may lose your 7, 8, 9 or something, kids that could have been good and contributed and role players and those types of things. They don't have a place to play, in a town our size. And so keeping those kids all together and playing gives you some depth that we haven't been able to have. And hopefully, that the programs that we've got in place now at the Little League and at the junior high will equate to some of those things because I talked to Coach Holloway and some other coaches. The big thing is the kids have to they have to compete for spots, and if they aren't competing and if they get kind of stagnant with where they're at, then it's difficult to get them better throughout their high school career. And right now, our kids are competing pretty well for spots, and so we're happy about that.
You play in the Ohio Division. Of course, Mount Vernon baseball sees a lot of those teams, including yourself. We'll give you the opportunity to put a bullseye on who is a favorite to come out of that SIR Ohio Division baseball race this year.
Man, I tell you, you always got to look at Harrisburg. Coach Thompson does an awesome job. He's probably one of the best high school coaches in the country, probably in the history of high school baseball. Just tremendous coach, and he's always got his guys ready to play, and they always do really well. They lost Ryan Roper last year, and a couple other good kids, really good kids. And he's done it, several years, but they've got really good kids coming back. And Massac was really young last year, and I think that they'll be a good ball club, and they'll be able to compete. And Murfreesboro's got some really good young arms and good kids, and West Frankfort was really young last year, and they've got some really good arms. And Heron was good. They're a 3A school, and they're always really hard to beat. So, I tell you, I think it's going to be really tough. Our conference is going to be because I just think everybody got better. Harrisburg, like I said, they lost a couple kids, but they've got some really good kids that have come up, and they're always good up the middle. Their catcher's good, and they'll have good guys that can throw the ball. So, the conference-wise, it's going to be really tough, but it should be exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. I think, last year going into it, we had won it 2 years ago, and then last year, we knew it was going to be really hard to beat Harrisburg because, Ryan was a draftable kid, Gatorade Player of the Year, all kinds of different things. So when he got the ball in the mound when he's low 90s and can throw 3 pitches in the strike zone, it's like, man, it's really tough to be a kid like that. And now we don't have that, guy that's probably in the low 90s that's going to win every time out. And so, it's going to be who can do some of the little things right. And you know how baseball is. It's just, they make some mistakes. And we played Carmi last night, and we're cruising. 7-0 in the 7th. And we got the leadoff guy out. It was 6, 7, 8 in the 7th. And we get the 6 hole out, and they're 7, 8, 9, haven't done anything all day. And they get a base hit up the middle. Dakota hadn't died, so makes a great play on. We don't get him out at first, and the next kid hits the ground ball down the line for a base hit, and then the next kid comes out and floats a 2-strike curveball over our shortstop. So now you got bases loaded, and on a 1-2 pitch, we hit a kid, on a fastball, walk in a run, and then a kid, gets a sacrifice fly, and then the next kid up hits the ball. Now it's 7-5, and you're like, what just happened, But that's so in baseball. Go back to the original question, but I think the conference is going to be fun, to where anybody can be anybody. I wouldn't be surprised if I woke up and read the newspaper and said that Frankfort beat Harrisburg or Massac beat Heron or, whoever the case is. So I just hope that our kids give us a shot so we're able to compete and bring that conference title back to them.
Final question for you is our WMIX social media question of the week. And this week's question is, what is your favorite HGTV program to watch?
Oh, House Hunters International, no doubt. I like it when they do they go down to the Caribbean and Mexico and stuff like that. And, my wife's a teacher too, so we're not ever going to be able to do anything like that, but I get a kick out of it. And Court and I always laugh about where we'd like to relocate if we ever. I was close to winning the $1 billion Warren Buffett bracket, I think, up until like the second game of the tournament. So but I said, if I got to that final game, and I know that, you like Coach Calipari, I said, if Kentucky's playing in the national championship game, I'm calling that dude because he is a sellout. And I'm going to say, I got $999 million I'm going to give you to throw the game, and I know that he's good. And then I'd have that $1 million. That'd be good enough for me. So, but House Hunters International, that's my favorite.
I know, writing this down and stuff, I know it's late in the school year, but how is your pin collection doing at work? Do you have enough pins left, or are there plenty, or you need some extra ones?
I keep a well-stocked drawer full of pens so that when they get tainted, I can throw them away, and I got a brand new one coming right back at you. So sometimes I had one guy who chewed through two the other day, had ink all over the place, and we get another one. We'll just throw another one right to them. Say, here you go, man. You take this one and go with it. So, but we share them. And if I ever take a pen, I give it back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just wanted to make sure. Coach, obviously, we will see you on Monday. We wish the Rangers the best of luck, and we're looking forward to it.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it, guys.
That is Brett Blondie, head coach of the Benton Rangers. Of course, Rams and Rangers on Monday. It'll be right here on AM 940 and WMIXsports.com, where you can find a whole heap and helping of high school baseball. We need to take a break. Saturday Sports Show presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Coach Isaacs, Altoff next.
You need a great quality, new-to-you vehicle. There's a reason why Second Chance Auto has been helping put families into affordable, dependable vehicles for over 34 years. Honest, fair deals. Ain't nothing fancy, just great vehicles with warranties and bank rate financing for all. That's the only way Second Chance Auto will do business. They're receiving new vehicles every day. So be sure to stop by and find out how you can save thousands on the total cost of your vehicle. Helping people get in a great, dependable vehicle for over 34 years. Second Chance Auto, Route 142 East in Mount Vernon. Call 244-4518.
If you can't pick us up where you live, move. This is WMIX, Mount Vernon, Marion, another Withers Broadcasting Station.
Women's health care just got closer to home, right here in Salem. St. Mary's Good Samaritan Women's Health Care and OBGYNs Dr. Deborah Carson, Dr. Doug Combs, Dr. Jamie Plett, Dr. Elizabeth Byer-Nolan, and Dr. Michael Schifano are seeing patients every Tuesday at the Salem Family Health Center. That means you'll have a full range of OB/GYN services close to home, including prenatal and wellness checks, incontinence treatment, and family planning options for when your family's complete. Plus, access to state-of-the-art Da Vinci robotic surgery for quicker recovery and less pain after hysterectomy. Ladies, your health is important, so why not get OB/GYN care right here close to home by St. Mary's Good Samaritan Women's Health Care. Call 1-877-456-2496 to make your appointment. That's 1-877-456-2496.
Hi, this is Joe David Cummins, President of Community First Bank. By now you have heard about our new One Checking product. The new One Account is a high interest earning, free checking account designed for everyone. Unlike other banks that pay interest on higher balance, this account pays interest on all balances. From high schoolers to Warren Buffett, One will work for you. You can talk to one of us at 244-3000 and learn about the details. One, exclusively at Community First Bank. You will be one happy customer. Member FDIC.
Welcome back, WMIX, WMIXsports.com. Saturday Sports Show continues on, presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Rainy here in King City, at least it was overnight.
If you go to Twitter at WMIX Sports, there's some cancellations. I think Waltonville ZRC baseball's still on.
Yes.
Murfreesboro softball tournament canceled. There's some other cancellations as there. We're tweeting them as we know. As of right now, we've not heard anything to deter our trip to Coles County. So Mount Vernon right now is going to Mattoon.
Welcome now to the program. He is the head coach of the Altoff Crusaders, Brett Isaacs. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
A great morning indeed. Always great to be able to talk to you and talk high school baseball. Of course, the Crusaders and the Rams, that legendary rain-out tie last year that we love to look so fondly upon. But for your Crusaders, of course, a great program in Class 2A again this year. You get a nice 3-1 start to the season before heading to Tough Mascoutah, or hosting Tough Mascoutah on Tuesday. But a 3-1 start with wins over Marissa, Columbia, and Metro East Lutheran, and just a tough loss, of course, to Collinsville.
Yes, we've gotten off to a pretty good start, and maybe the most impressive game for us was our loss against Collinsville because of who we faced and the result of that. They have a really nice pitcher in Tanner Houck, who's going to Mizzou, and 6'5" kid, good frame, and throws about 89 to 92, I think, and and we were able to knock him out in the 5th inning with 7 runs, and with some help from them, but we put the ball in play and everything and made things happen. And unfortunately, we couldn't hold on to that game. But that I walk away from that knowing that we can hit a good pitcher and do some positive things offensively there.
Your team finished 14-16 last year, and you mentioned in an article in the local newspaper about you want your team to show that they can beat a good pitcher. You returned 5 starters from last year's team. How much will that help you beat a good pitcher as you would like with all those starters coming back?
Well, I think, from the early showing, I think it's going to help a lot. I think, a lot of these kids played either as sophomores or juniors last year, and they were passive and weren't sure about themselves. And I think they had a good summer last year, along with, learning a lot last spring, and they're pretty confident now, and you can kind of see that on their face. And I was anxious to see how we would react against the Houck kid the other night in Collinsville, and would we be able to catch up to him, and would we be able to hit him? And I thought we did a nice job, and having those kids back, it just really makes a difference, and kind of gives you a head start on the season, really.
Speaking of your season head start, you also play a very tough schedule. Last year going 2A. For our listeners, will you be 2A again this year in baseball?
Yes, we will.
Moving on to the South 7 Conference. Like we know, all the baseball in the South 7 Conference very tough and difficult. We'll let you have the opportunity, like we've had Coach Holloway do here. Who do you see and who do you want to place the bullseye on as far as the teams as favorite to win the South 7 Conference this year?
I don't really. I think Mount Vernon naturally gets the bullseye just because of their success in the last 3, 4, 5 years in the conference. So I think you have to look at them as the top-notch one right now. But I think I'd be more surprised if anybody went 9-1 or 10-0 in the conference because I think everybody's pretty even this year. I know Carbondale was much improved last year, and I know they've got good pitching back, and Centralia kind of starts with the McCreakin kid, who I really like, and Marion and Mount Vernon I know will be good. So I just think every game's going to be very competitive and really parity, maybe more even than I've seen it since we've been in it.
Top to bottom, and obviously even in South 7, of course. From the Metro East side of things, is there a battle at times over there with baseball, maybe with some other sports going on as far as travel teams and other sports, or is it pretty well a fair assessment as we look at it from here in Mount Vernon to say that maybe over the Metro East things are kind of balanced as far as the kids playing different sports, or how does that work over there now?
Well, I think it's a constant battle, and I think it starts, I don't see it affecting my baseball kids right now at the high school age, but I think it starts at such a young age that I see it with my kids and my kids' friends and stuff about how they're pushed and I guess guided towards 1 or 2 sports because they're so busy. And over here, I know soccer is so big, and soccer's 12 months of the year sport, it seems like. So you can't really commit to a different sport. And I think the adults have kind of changed things. The AAU society a little bit there have kind of pushed kids into one sport, and I don't deal with it a ton at the high school. I think they've all kind of picked their sport by the time they get to high school, and unfortunately they don't play 3 sports anymore.
That's a good point. As far as your team goes today, or do you have a game today, or are you battling the elements right now?
We're going to practice. We're getting ready to start here in about 15 minutes, and I like to get them out early on a Saturday, and that way they can have the rest of their day, and I can have the rest of mine.
Well, that's a good move. I'm sure they enjoy getting up early, even though they get the rest of the day, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they like that trade-off, but I like to get it done.
Hey, speaking of get it done, we have our final question for you. It's our WMIX Sports Social Media question of the week, and this week's question is, what is your favorite HGTV program to watch?
Well, my first question is, and I'll have to ask this question, Is that the Home Improvement Network?
Yes,
thing?
that's the one with all the building.
So
Yeah.
that should explain where I sit on that. I don't watch that stuff. I run from the room when my wife has it on because I don't want her to get any ideas of trying to make me do any of that stuff they're doing there on TV. So those shows make me nervous because that leads to work around the house, I think.
Amen to that.
I know. So.
I am all over that.
I try to avoid that whenever possible.
Coach, a tough week with Mascoutah, Waterloo, and, of course, the Rams coming on Thursday. We wish you the best of luck. We'll see you Thursday afternoon.
All right. Thank you very much.
That is Brett Isaacs, of course, head coach of the Althoff Crusaders. Rams and Crusaders will be on Thursday, but they have Mascoutah and then head to Waterloo on back-to-back days. Tough Mississippi Valley stretch for the Crusaders, of course, but they'll open South 7 Conference play with your Mount Vernon Rams. That will be Thursday. We need to talk some more high school baseball. We'll have Tim Kraft of the DuQuoin Indians after the break here on the Saturday Sports Show, presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what a healthcare should be.
Back after these.
It's time for every golfer's favorite holiday. Super Demo Day returns to the Rinley College Golf Outlet Saturday, April 5th from 10 till 4. Free range balls, free fittings, and free expert advice from industry professionals. 12 of the hottest brands will be showcased, including TaylorMade, Callaway, and Ping. Hit some balls with a new 2014 driver, like the new Callaway Big Bertha, or get fitted for the new Ping I-25 irons. Real golfers can't miss this event. It's Super Demo Day, Saturday, April 5th at the Rinley College Golf Outlet, just off the interstates in Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon is home to many wonderful people and things, and that includes quality cardiac care from Dr. Ruzaik Ibrahim. A skilled cardiologist, Dr. Ibrahim's training and scientific accomplishments have earned his designation as a Fellow of the American College of Cardiology. His services range from preventative care to the treatment of advanced heart conditions. For an appointment with Dr. Ibrahim at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 241-9071 or visit in person at 4113 South Water Tower, Mount Vernon.
Welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. Chris Shuko with Danny Zerwinski, Jeff Crow in studio, courtesy of Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Our next guest is the head coach of the 4-1 DuQuoin Indians. He is Tim Kraft. Coach, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You know, always a pleasure. Of course, the Rams and Indians, a nice little battle every year. Of course, this year it's at that nice, beautiful field in DuQuoin, of course, on Friday. But you guys have already gotten a decent start to your season, of course, playing teams like Zion Benton, Redbud, and, of course, among others. I know you got a big win yesterday against the Goreville Black Cats. Just a good start to the season for the Indians thus far at 4-1.
Yeah, we've gotten off to a good start. We didn't know what to expect because we're a little light experience-wise, and it's been good to see the kids come out and win some games early and kind of start, moving forward positively.
How's the weather been for your team? How many games have you gotten in this spring?
Actually, yesterday we're 5-2 now, so we've gotten 7 in to this point.
Your team returns a lot of people from last year, going 25-10, getting to the sectional finals. Couple of guys are on the mound. A.J. Smith's one of them. Camden Merce, I think that's how you pronounce it. You can correct me. But those two guys are going to be the leaders on the mound for you this year.
Yeah, both of those two have a lot of experience out on the mound. We feel pretty confident that they've got the ball in their hand and they've got a good chance to either compete or possibly win the game. We got another guy that moved in, and he's a junior. His name's Levi Brenning, and he threw his first game the other day against Zion Benton. He fits in well with those guys. And then yesterday I had a junior, Jacob Valier, step in, and I think he threw almost 7 innings. Didn't gave up 1 run maybe against Goreville, and threw a really good game. And really what we're trying to find is that, that 3, 4, 5, and both those two in the last 2 games have really stepped up and pitched well.
Sometimes on teams you have guys that are going to play a certain spot every day, every game. That's all they can do. Some of your younger kids that are on the roster this year kind of give you an availability of versatility. Talk about your younger kids and their ability to kind of do some different things for your team on the varsity level.
With A.J. Smith, just being a junior, he can play pretty much any position on the infield, and I think he has played every position on the infield this year. When he's not pitching. I had a sophomore in Brock Fuller who's stepped in and given us a pretty good job at third base, and I got an outfielder as a junior, and Lane Belier that's come along, and he's the one that had the big hit yesterday, and he's given us good at bats and really kind of solidified left field for us, over the last 2 weeks. And we're still, my starting first baseman still is dealing with a knee injury, so he's out for a little while. And we've got some seniors that have kind of stepped in and played in some unfamiliar positions and done a great job for us while we're still kind of getting healthy.
Looking at this year, the Mississippi Division, again, obviously Nashville, DuQuoin, AJ, all very good teams. They'll give you a chance. Who do you see as the favorite? And you can pick yourself if you like to win that SIRR Mississippi Division.
I think both Nashville and Anna are probably in my opinion, probably the top two teams. Nashville's got most of their team back from a team that lost in the sectional last year, and then Anna Jonesboro's got the Vaughn kid, and they were extremely young, and we know when the Vaughn kid's on the mound that they're going to be really, really tough to beat. So I think those two, but any of the teams in our conference, it seems to be balanced, and Pinckneyville and Sparta, they'll be right there, and we've seen some of their scores, and they've been competitive too. So it's a pretty balanced conference.
Final question for you, and this question, our WMIX Sports social media question of the week, was inspired by you. Okay, so here's our question. I know you're going to have an answer because I know what you've done in the off season to get better at this. What is your favorite HGTV program to watch?
The Vanilla Ice Project, but that's on DIY Network. I don't watch HGTV too much, but I like the Vanilla Ice Project on the Do It Yourself Network.
I wondered because I'd heard about your off season. Some coaches like to rest and get ready, and you do some other things for the basketball program there. But I know you've been in the off season. I thought maybe with what you've been doing, you've been watching HGTV a little bit with all the guys and all the work you've been doing.
Well, yeah, I have to be the creative one in the bunch. They're kind of set in their ways, and I got to see some new methods of doing things. So, I got to be the one that has to add the new technology to the crew.
Yeah, I understand that group being set in their ways. There's no doubt.
Coach, obviously a good week coming up for you this week with Vernon Hills, Frankfort, and Mount Vernon, according to Max Preps. We will see you for the Rams and Indians on Friday.
Okay, look forward to seeing you.
That's Tim Kraft, head coach of the DuQuoin Indians, of course, a sectional finalist from a year ago and a great season then, and many expect him to make a nice little run again in Class 2A this season.
This DuQuoin team is loaded. I mean, it's one of those deals where, I look at DuQuoin with their pitching and that their veteran ability back, that DuQuoin has an opportunity. Of course, they had such a successful run last year, going 25-10, a great come-from-behind victory in the sectional semifinals, and, of course, lost in that sectional final. But it wouldn't shock me. Tim Kraft's made a couple of trips to DuQuoin in state, so I know it'll be a tough game and be nice to get down to DuQuoin next Friday.
Plenty more talk to come here on the Saturday Sports Show. We'll be joined by Wade Thomas, president of the Black Diamond Conference. Coming up after the break, we'll talk about the acceptance of Edwards County. Saturday Sports Show is presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
I'm Kevin Snyder with a look at your next rad weather. A little rain early this morning, then clouds will give way to some sun. Today we'll have a high 53. Cold night with patchy clouds, low 29. Sunny skies tomorrow. Warmer with a high 64 and a low tomorrow night of 39. Breezy day Monday with cloudy to partly sunny skies. A shower or thunderstorm around in the evening. We'll have a high of 71 and a low 44. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
How can we keep the people we love safe and secure in their own home? Let the Medicine Shop's home medical equipment team help you with all your mobility and specialty product needs. They provide mobility products like motorized scooters, wheelchairs, and home stair lifts. The Medicine Shop's expertly trained staff can also provide car and van lift installations, and they offer a full service repair facility for medical equipment, whether you purchased it from them or somewhere else. Here's pharmacist and pharmacy owner Eric Black.
We service a 60-mile radius area, so a pretty wide area. We service orders from several area hospitals, and we have the staff in place that really sets us apart. We have 3 respiratory therapists and 2 seating specialists to help with seating on wheelchair and power chair needs. And we just feel that we have the staff and the warehousing and the facilities in place to really set us apart from any of our competitors in the area.
The Medicine Shop Pharmacy, 2339 Broadway in Mount Vernon.
America is a nation on wheels. Everyone has at least one automobile. We use them for shopping, work, everything we do. But they can be a threat. Some accidents can't be prevented. Your professional Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crownview in Mount Vernon, can help protect you from a large financial loss when an accident happens. Call Page Insurance today at 242-7000 about low-cost auto insurance from Pekin Insurance. Ask them about the many money-saving discounts that are available. Depend on your hometown professionals.
Pekin Insurance.
Welcome back, Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. Presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
You bet it is. Of course, proud to welcome to the program, President of the Black Diamond Conference. He is Wade Thomas. Wade, good morning.
Hi, good morning, guys.
You know, obviously a busy week for the BDC, of course, filling a void in football effective with 2016 with the Edwards County Lions coming in. Is this something that the conference looked at, considered, and thought, oh, this sounds like a great idea, this is a team that we need to have come in and help fill this void? Or were there some reservations about bringing Edwards County into the fold?
Well, I think the biggest thing that everybody looked at from the conference perspective was to try to find, a potential replacement. With Elkville looking to go into the co-op with DuQuoin, and whatever school would best fit that void of them would be the school that we would look to try to bring in.
As we look at it now in the Black Diamond and with every other thing, it seems, how important was it to obviously get football locked in? Was that the number one concern? Or was there more concern about the other sports?
I think that's the first thing, Danny, you have to look at is to try to, being a 10-team league and having a 9-game schedule right there in your conference. I think that's the biggest thing because, it's tough to end up and have, an 8-game schedule and everybody's trying to find that one game, and you look at traveling all over the country and with the financial constraints that everybody has right now put on them, that extra travel makes it awfully tough.
When I look at this deal and you get Edwards County in, the first thing I have to go back to is Alvarado and Trico. Alvarado obviously out. They're going to co-op with DuQuoin, probably go to the South Egyptian Conference. Now, my question is, is it true or not that in the Black Diamond Conference there is a concrete rule that says you either have to have football or you're not in the conference? Or is that just something that was thought of by people in previous years that's not true?
To be honest, the current bylaws do not state that anywhere within the bylaws, and that's something that back around Christmas time, when people were talking about that, growing up at McLeansboro and then also being at Carmine and having that affiliation with the Black Diamond, that was something that I always thought was the case. But as far as I went back through the bylaws that we have now, and I look back through some of the most recent years of bylaws, you have amendments and changes throughout and could not find anything. So that rumor pertaining to Trico became null and void because there was nothing in the bylaws.
Okay, and then you have the meeting Tuesday night. Edwards County voted in. Sparta did not come as everybody thought. Edwards County voted in, 10-team conference, but a unique situation because Edwards County cannot fully join for a couple of years. Was that a concern going in for some of the other schools, or were they just ready to accept them and deal with the football scheduling for a year or two until they could fully join?
Well, I think everybody would love for it to be a smooth transition when one school leaves, another team comes right in. Our situation was with Edwards County that they have a commitment to the LIC. And I think they need to be commended because you can talk about a commitment, but to be honest, if Edwards County would want to leave, I don't know what the other schools in the LIC could do to stop them from coming to the BDC. So to me, that shows a level of professionalism, not only with their school and administration, but with their athletic department to say, hey, we'll go ahead and fulfill our commitment, and that commitment will run out in the beginning of 2016, 2017 year. They will come into the Black Diamond Conference. So, it puts the Black Diamond in a little bit of a tough spot from a football perspective for the next couple of years. But again, I think you look at both sides of those things, and to me, I commend Edwards County fulfilling what they're doing with the LIC before they come to the Black Diamond.
What are the options for schools this year in 14 and 15, along with the IHSA rules, as far as who they can schedule, can they schedule, or can schools get a forfeit win over the next 1 to 2 years? How does that all work?
Well, I think the first thing we've made a contact with the IHSA. And I think they've not officially gave us a ruling. I believe, and I'm speaking just my own personal belief, I do believe that the conference will receive a forfeit for the 14-15 school year. I do not believe that we will receive a forfeit for the 2015-2016 year. So all the schools within the conference are looking at, if you play week 1, week 2, week 8, week 9, you have a better opportunity to find someone to pick up that additional game versus somebody playing in the heart of everybody's conference season. So, week 1, or year 1, I do believe that we will get a forfeit. Again, that's pending the IHSA's approval. Year 2, 2015, 2016, everybody will need to try to find a game or choose to play an 8-game schedule, or there's even been talk about possibly to get that 9th game, look at maybe trying to play someone twice. I think Trenton Westland and I think Carlisle maybe are looking to do that next year. The negative to that, you're going to have to play one of those games maybe in the midweek or something like that. But I think it's pretty important, to try to find that 9th game. But in our situation, a lot of schools are going to have a real difficult, if almost impossible time to find someone for next school year.
I look at football like this, and I think this maybe, the other sports as well. You have freshman level, you have JV or sophomore level. Does it come to a point where the conference, maybe they haven't? My idea would be that, hey, you know what? We're not going to have a conference trophy in freshman football. Go find 8-9 games around you, play whoever. If you want to play conference, fine. Same with sophomore football. Do you see that going on, or has that already been talked about?
Well, that's already been decided in our conference at our meeting back in the fall. We have 2 meetings each year. We have a fall meeting, and then we have a spring meeting, and that was decided among the athletic directors and took back to each school. And again, you go back to the financial constraints is one, and also you look at, some schools may end up and have great numbers all throughout the program, may have 65, 70, 80 kids. Other schools may end up and have 35 or 40 kids in their program. The Black Diamond Conference, as it is right now, is we play a fresh soft schedule and we play a varsity schedule. If you want to play everyone at the freshman level, that's great. If you want to play people that are close to you geographically, maybe that are out of your conference, you can do that. We've had a situation the last couple of years where Elkville couldn't field a freshman team. This past year, McLeansboro couldn't field a freshman team. So some people have had to play a less than full freshman schedule already, and some others have picked up, like this past year, Johnson City. We played Carmike twice at the freshman level. Again, with going back to the financial issues that some schools are facing, I don't think in our situation Johnson City would look to play someone twice at the freshman level. We may look to maybe just play a 7 or 8 game schedule at the freshman level because of different reasons, such as the finances.
You're a lot like us, and where you're very enthusiastic and passionate about high school sports and like to look to the future of high school sports personally, not professionally, but personally. Do you kind of get the vibe that we sometimes get that maybe Edwards County to BDC is not the last conference move we'll see over the next year or two?
I think that's pretty true, Chris. I mean, again, purely speaking, my own personal belief, I think there'll be, potentially more dominoes to fall. I think a lot of times you compare it to college basketball. When some key coach gets fired at whatever level, you start to see the dominoes fall, and they can go from the the BCS, the highest schools in the country, all the way down to maybe some mid-majors because of all those dominoes. And I think could potentially see something like that. I think you look at, just the move of Edwards County coming into the Black Diamond. That's going to fill a void in the LIC, and who's going to be the school to come in there? You hear different rumors, but if you would get a Salem or someone like that, a bigger school to go into the LIC, I think you could look and see, again, some of those, there's quite a disparity in enrollments in the LIC. Potentially you could see maybe some of those smaller schools that are in the LIC maybe looking to do something else. Maybe that puts it in a spot where maybe they want to talk to the Black Diamond about more schools coming in, and that's something that the Black Diamond Conference would have to look at. Because again, you start talking the whole geography, transportation, dollar thing that always comes into play. I think there will be potentially could be more shuffle, and there could be more shuffle from other conferences. Maybe it involves somebody on the west side. Maybe it's somebody down south. I think the geography piece, as well as the whole structure of the IHSA with football, always is, and in my opinion, that's what's blew up a lot of great conferences is football. And I've coached football for a number of years, but, that has caused a lot of people, because of the way the IHSA structures the playoff system, to get that mighty sixth win or to get that fifth win to have a chance, has caused a lot of people to leave a lot of great conferences throughout time.
Is it a case, maybe I'm seeing things differently, where, for example, School A is hosting, or Conference A, I say School A is hosting a tournament, they get a handshake agreement, a contract signature from School B, but B is always on the phone, always looking for the green grass on the other side? Is that kind of how conference and basketball tournaments go right now in Southern Illinois?
Maybe. Basketball-wise, I don't see a lot of quite as much movement or shakeout. I think the biggest thing with basketball is when you talk about tournaments is, going to 16-3 tournaments. There can be the Hucks Invitational or the Casey Invitational tournament going on. It seems like with the advent of the third tournament, and with that third tournament, again, you start looking at trying to stay away from people that you play in your conference schedule. But a lot of times those cross over, and you get schools that all of a sudden used to play 2 times and were great rivals. All of a sudden now those rivals are playing 4 and 5 times, and everybody's trying to get away from that. So I think that's one thing that is something that really is something that needs to be looked at over time with the IHSA.
Final question for you is our WMIX social media question of the week, and this week's question is, what is your favorite HGTV program to watch?
Wow. I've got a couple, and again, it's not because of my ability to do anything. I'm not a handyman. My wife is the one that can fix anything. If there's something that goes wrong at our house, it's not me that's going to fix it. That's awful to say, but that's just a fact. But over time, being married for several years, I've become an HGTV fan. So I've got several that we like to watch, but probably a fairly new one that we watch a lot. House Hunters, that's a classic. Property Brothers is probably the one that I really enjoy watching the most right now.
That's where I'm as Property Brothers. That's the one I got to watch all the time. Not right now, I'm busy. I got a team in a tournament, but I can watch it every once in a while.
Yeah, you got other things on your mind after last night, bud.
I got lots on my mind, lots. It just gets to a point where you beat little brother enough, you just say, okay, go home. We're tired of beating you all the time.
I tell you what, it was a great win for the Wildcats last night, but this has been, from the run that Archie Miller's Dayton Flyers are making this tournament, just a bunch of great games. I mean, last night I was at the Lions Club All-Star game participating in that, and I taped those games, but just all throughout the tournament, I mean, just the parity from the best to the mid-majors, it's just been a great tournament with a lot of really good games, and I expect it'll be that way all the way to the Final Four.
I'm amazed that, the Big Ten's got 3 teams left. The SEC has 2 teams left of the 8, and no ACC schools. And it's kind of like I think some national media doesn't know what to do when ACC schools aren't involved.
Yeah, Duke's always everybody's darling, it seems like, and you either love Duke or hate Duke, kind of like what people feel about Kentucky. Typically, there's no middle ground with those schools, but to me, it's neat to see, and I think you're really seeing it this year. The teams that have, and Kentucky's probably the exception, playing all the freshman guys, but that's kind of what Cal does with his guys, and that's kind of how their program's evolved too. But it's neat to see, the great freshman players that everybody talks about getting beat by the seniors that nobody ever knew about, and seeing those teams be able to see the veterans go against the rookies, so to speak. And I think it's, I don't think it's best for college basketball, but I think it makes for a great NCAA tournament. I guess we'll get into the whole debate of one and done and all that type of thing, but I think this year, I don't know, every year this is a special time as a basketball fan, but this year's NCAA tournament has just been a lot of fun to sit back and watch.
Well, it's been a lot of fun indeed, and what I love is the fact that the games that started as blowouts end up being maybe 1 or 2 points at the end. It's just been a great classic tournament.
Yeah, and that's, again, from a fan perspective, those games have run and points of time throughout the game where somebody gets the momentum and rides it either to get back in the game. And I'll go back to the Arizona-San Diego State game from the night before last. Arizona State was kind of dead in the water, and San Diego State was just kind of grinding them out. And then all of a sudden, Arizona makes a run late to end up and win the ball game. And that's kind of been the theme for this year's tournament.
Well, it's been a great theme indeed. Wade, we appreciate you for sharing your insight today about the Black Diamond Conference as well as all things sports.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Wade Thomas, good friend of the program. We appreciate him. Of course, the panelist just a few weeks ago. That's a classic moment in Saturday Sports Show history. The archive online at WMIXsports.com. We'll get today's up a little bit later on. But, of course, we need to take a break. Saturday Sports Show presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Wilt. I want to thank Mount Vernon and the surrounding area for continuing to support us over the past 5 years. If you have never sat down with someone to go over your insurance program, let me invite you into our office. Let us show you what working with the industry leader, represented by a local agent, can do for you. I'm located just off 42nd Street. You can reach our office 24 hours a day at 242-1421 or on the web at tonywilt.com. Thanks again, and go Rams.
Hi, Roy Schmidt, Ford Lincoln dealer at Ford Square, Mount Vernon. Construction, heavy hauling, emergency vehicles, agriculture, forestry, utility services. Within these and countless other essential industries, the guys and gals who do the toughest work count on one heavy-duty truck more than any other, the Ford F-Series Super Duty. Day in and day out, built Ford tough, diesel and gas powertrains enable F-Series Super Duties to pump out plenty of horsepower and torque, along with great fuel economy. At Ford Square, we have cashback incentives up to $5,500 on F Super Duties and a great selection right now. Come see one of our sales associates at Ford Square, 1501 Broadway in Mount Vernon, Illinois, where the best never rest. And you can also view all of our inventory, new and pre-owned, at fordsquare.com.
Welcome back, Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXsports.com, presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
So glad you could join us this morning. Don't forget our WMIX Sports social media question is on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIXSportsDC. I know it is. What is your favorite HGTV program to watch? Property Brothers, your answer?
Yes. Gotta be. That's a must-watch every night. What I don't understand about that show is The couples that get on there that act like they've come out from under a rock and never seen this show where they question the guys. It's like, dude, seriously, don't question. Just shut up and go do what you got to do.
I'll tell
you
you
what they're doing.
I went ahead and posted mine already on Facebook a little bit earlier, but I have a few that are must-watches for me if I'm home and they're on. I don't go out of my way to DVR any of them. I have too much of my DVR as it is with air disasters and things like that. Homes on Homes, just because I like the alpha male coming in and telling people what they're doing wrong and then getting mad when people aren't safe. That's probably why I like John Taffer and Bar Rescue. It's kind of a similar situation. I like Property Brothers. Income Property is a good one for me because I like to see how people can turn maybe an extra bedroom or a floor of their house that they're not using and make money off of that. And then Property Brothers, just because I like anything involving siblings that could turn dramatic. Makes for good television.
There's not a lot of
I know, that's the only thing. I keep waiting for it to happen, though.
It's going to happen. They got Property Brother versus Brother, I think, coming up in the summer. I don't understand that because you kind of need both to kind of work with each other. So
exactly.
I don't know. I'm not real down with that.
Because that's a teamwork sort of thing. I understand what they're going for, and I can see what they're going to try to do there. But, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But that's our social media question of the week. Participate in the discussion on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. But I'm like a lot of our guests today, Dwayne Thomas, Brett Isaacs, where I watch, but don't expect me to go out and replicate or be able to do anything that anybody on these shows does.
If we win the lottery, we'll do it. But,
I'm not a handyman, nor am I a green thumb by any stretch of the imagination. Not at all. Nor do I want to be. I have no desire to be able to fix things. I mean, I suppose it's a necessary trait, survival of the fittest, but no, not me.
Why try to rig something and say you fixed it and tear it up worse than when you can, pay some money, and it might cost you a little extra, but pay a little money and get it done right the first time.
Because you're going to pay a whole lot more whenever, like you're saying, you're going to pay a whole lot more if you mess it up.
Don't sit there and try to fix a door or a lock or whatever and say you fixed it when you haven't, because it's going to tear up even worse.
Like, I despise my mailbox, but I don't know what the heck I'm doing to put a new one in there, so I just keep my old mailbox. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't like what it looks like. I want to keep up with the Joneses, get one of those nice plastic ones, just slides over the post. I could saw off the one I have now, but I don't know, don't care, not going to do it. So there you go. That's kind of how that works. But plenty more going on in the world of local sports, of course. Still some high school football openings laying out there. Of course, Edwards County gets in a new conference. They don't have a football coach, which is a sport that drove the move. Carbondale's still looking, maybe getting a little bit closer to having their guy. Massac County found their man and one of their assistant coaches from this past year, Ryan Lott, originally a Jerseyville native, I recall.
That's their third coach in 3 years.
They've been on a tough stretch.
Yeah, Kelly Glass left and went to McCracken County, Kentucky, to do some other things. Then they hired John Warren, who lasted a year. He went 3-6, and Massac's only 4-23 since 2012. So Massac's in tough times. Of course, now what you are seeing, and it's the state of schools, state of situation, is schools cannot go out and make up positions and get people who they want. They have to be really, really creative about how they go about things. Ryan Lott was the offensive line coach for the Patriots this year. He's going to jump in. He's going to be the head coach, an in-school hiring. And a lot of schools have that. Cesar Valier, Waltonville Woodlawn, also looking for a coach. Again, and I'm not saying that school in particular, but schools in particular from here on out aren't going to have that leeway to make up a position and bring people in. It's going to have to be either a retired teaching position opens and fits perfectly, or you're going to have to either coach, or they're going to have to find somebody that's retired or something, or somebody on staff, because you're not going to be able to do this. So Massac hires Lott. That is Ryan Lott, not Ronnie Lott.
Well, they'd be doing something well if they had Ronnie Lott.
They had something there. So, credit to Massac. They got that quickly done so the off-season program can continue, and I'm sure it has been for all year with Ryan Lott down there. So Massac will get him, and, of course, we'll wait to see what Carbondale does. A lot of rumors and speculations, which could affect other schools and how things go. And, of course, Cesar Waltonville will wait and see who they hire to replace two-year head coach Johnny Hollis.
It'll be interesting to see how some of these dominoes start to fall, and if any dominoes start to fall. And that's the thing is, we talked about earlier, schools being unable to host due to finances, and you talked about not being able to create positions anymore. It's becoming a problem just maintaining the staff on hand and being able to afford the staff that they have and not having to riff or lay off things of that nature. So it's going to be interesting to see what schools are able to do from a coaching standpoint with these open positions. You're going to see a lot of internal hires probably in some places that aren't as economically blessed, and not the situation you want to be in, but I think it's an is what it is standpoint.
Sign of the times is what it is.
See what else. So much going on right now in the world of high school sports. Of course, people are moving all over the place in various different types of entities. And, of course, we look at tournaments. We've talked about tournaments actually this week and which teams. Because now you look at Edwards County going to the BDC. They're going to have a midwinter opening because they'll be out of the Little Illini Conference tournament. Who knows where they're going to head, but we do know Heron is headed to the Carbondale Holiday Tournament. Carbondale's trying to add some teams, get a little bit more local. I know they lose a local team, but they're talking to some others as well and really trying to beef up that tournament in hopes of keeping it going.
No, Carbondale tournament, like every other, they lost a significant sponsor. And, I think for Heron, number one, they have to go play at Carbondale. I mean, El Dorado does them no good to play Massac, Harrisburg all the time. I think they've got to get some 3A schools on the schedule and try to get some things done as far as beefing up their schedule, because they're not going to get any smaller. Heron is going to grow in enrollment and size, and they're going to be a 3A school in basketball from here on out. I think that's a move. They should have probably stayed at Carbondale anyway. They go to El Dorado thinking they're 2A. Now they're 3A. Now they probably should have stayed at Carbondale, and they'll be a nice addition, bringing people in, because on that Route 13 corridor, that's what Carbondale's goal is to try to get people in that gym and fill, and Heron will help themselves out by playing 3A schools.
Well, they will, and of course that's a good move for the Heron Tigers to get back into Carbondale. And I think, Carterville out? Carterville to Duster Thomas?
Carterville goes to Pinckneyville for the second time. Of course, they were there the first year, the couple years at tournament, then got out when they moved to the River to River Conference, Mississippi side. Now because, they go back in, and because Pinckneyville has, obviously expanded that tournament. So, an opportunity for Carterville to get back in, leaving Carbondale, which in 4 to 5 years, Carterville will probably doing the same thing that Heron did, probably going back to Carbondale with their enrollment speculations that there are.
Enrollment speculations indeed, and that's just a crazy situation down there where they are going to experience a massive boom once some of these larger middle and elementary school classes get into high school, and that's going to be insanity at its finest. But, of course, we take a look at some other things going on, of course. Good to see some of the sites announced, of course, baseball and softball-wise for postseason. Of course, we told you Mount Vernon Rams hosting a 3A boys baseball regional. We assume the Lady Rams will be going to Heron. If not, they'll end up at Salem. But the assignment's not quite announced yet, and it's not as easy just to assume who's going where anymore, because you don't necessarily know whom is in which class when there are teams on the bubble every year with the even class distribution with the IHSA. So that'll be interesting to see. But right now, of course, when you take a look at some of the sites that are to be had, a lot of TBAs we talked about at length earlier in softball, and it's not good right now. It just kind of all goes to the sign of the times, and I hate to overuse that term, but we talked about hosting and why people aren't as up to host these types of events anymore earlier, and I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, and as I said, happens and it goes on and it will continue. It's tough to get people to host things and the commitment to work, and a lot of times by the end of the year, people are ready to get out of the building, and they'll find people to host, and you might see a school. And we've seen this done in the past, host a regional and a sectional, or a sectional and a super. It will happen. The IHSA will get it done, and they'll get people to host events. Don't you worry.
Yeah, they'll do what they have to do. Of course, if you look at 3A baseball, Mount Vernon, Waterloo, Mattoon, Highland, and South, of course, are your hosts. Feeds into the Triad sectional this year. Triad has a nice facility. They're all grouped together at the high school. And then, of course, that feeds into the GCS ballpark, Sauget super sectional, but all in all, obviously, the Mount Vernon Rams are going to feed into the Mount Vernon Regional. That's no doubt there. But some nice facilities, of course. There's many more classes to come, 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A. But finally getting to see Mount Vernon host a regional. It's a great facility, definitely postseason worthy.
Oh, yeah. It's nice to see. And, would like to see a few more improvements. Maybe Mount Vernon can host a sectional. I mean, obviously people here know, being on the crossroads of Interstate 57 and 64, that Mount Vernon would be an excellent choice to host a lot of postseason events in the future for the IHSA. And schools in that capability and that size can get to very easily jumping on those interstate thoroughfares. So hopefully the first of what will be many postseason events to come with all the new facilities coming in the next few years, that new school that Mount Vernon can host.
No doubt about that. And, of course, that's one of those things that when you start to see plans for athletic facilities, you hope that's in mind, because the IHSA is chomping at the bit for places conveniently located like Mount Vernon to be able to host. And, if you have a different type of basketball facility, you're not looking at 1A super sectional for boys basketball in Salem. You're more than likely looking at it having been in Mount Vernon the years that the SIU Arena was remodeled, but not the case, probably won't be the case. And so that's just one of those things you have to look at. Of course, in terms of convenience, Mount Vernon would be a perfect place for a lot of things to be hosted here with the facilities. And the baseball facility, no doubt, just needs some lights to be able to host a sectional, but a beautiful field. They put a lot of work into it. I know Denny Clark is out there working now to get the JV game in. Rams baseball is on, both JV and varsity today. The varsity heads to Mattoon. But, a windy day and a little bit of sun will help a lot of fields, of course, in the area, but there's some that aren't going to be so fortunate today with a lot of cancellations that you can find on Twitter as we've been tweeting and retweeting.
Windy day, diamond dry.
Hard work.
Other things.
Luck.
Yeah, EPA would not be happy with, but you can get a field ready. There's some old tricks in the bag that many people would frown on.
If you aren't careful, land you on the Channel 5 news with a helicopter overhead.
Yeah.
Had that happen to my uncle at SLU.
Yeah.
One time.
Yeah.
He's got to be careful. EPA frowns upon some of that stuff now, though.
Yeah.
What they don't know
of course,
doesn't hurt them.
Before last night, you had to be careful where you lit a match. It'd burn acres before you could blink, but you can get baseball games in the day. But there'll be some that obviously don't have a tarp. We got quite a bit of rain last night, I guess, overnight. So Mount Vernon fortunate going to Mattoon, which has some pretty darn good sports facilities. They got the monstrous press box we were in football in November, so I can't wait to see what the baseball field looked like. Last time we went out to the junior college, so make a stop on the way up. One of our favorites.
Coach Veith indicated we were inside today, so I'm kind of curious to see what they've got.
Yeah. We'll be inside, hopefully. I don't care if it's a cardboard box.
May have to pick some up on the way. We'll find out.
We can find some. I mean,
we'll find some up there. There's a lot of factories.
Oh, yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We can find lots on the way up.
I guarantee you we will, and we will do our very best, too. Of course, the Rams and Mattoon doubleheader today, baseball action, 12:45, your pregame on game number 1. 1 o'clock first pitch. We'll have the second game thereafter. It's all on AM 940 and WMIXsports.com, your home for every pitch of Rams baseball and a great assortment of Lady Rams softball, at least a better assortment by comparison to a year ago. Find our full broadcast schedule on our website. It's also where you'll find the archive of today's broadcast a little bit later on. Running down our schedule right quick. Of course, we told you about the doubleheader today at Mattoon for baseball. It's all Rams baseball. Weekdays next week, of course, the Rams will head to Benton on Monday. Tuesday, they welcome Effingham. Wednesday, it'll be the Montini Broncos from Lombard. Thursday, they travel to Altoft and open up conference play. Friday, it's another road game at DuQuoin. What a beautiful facility they have there at DuQuoin. Of course, a little bit of turf combined with a nice press box and nice seating make for a great facility. Then on Saturday, WMIXsports.com will have coverage of the Lady Rams games from the Vandalia tournament. They will have St. Elmo Brownstown in their opening contest around the 11 o'clock hour. Then following that, they will have T-Town. If they should happen to win one of those games, they'll either be in the third place game or the championship game. We'll have all 2 or 3 for you for the Lady Rams coming up next Saturday. You can, again, find our full broadcast schedule on our website at WMIXsports.com. We appreciate you for taking the time to join us today and access our broadcast. You can find us on the Twitterverse at WMIX Sports. We're on Facebook under the same manner and name. And, of course, we are on YouTube as well. So thank you for taking the time to join us on behalf of our sponsors, especially Crossroads Community Hospital, especially on behalf of Danny Zerwinski and Jeff Crow. I'm Chris Hugo, thanking you again for today's broadcast. We hope you enjoyed all of our guests. Of course, Tim Holloway, Lance Bolt unable to join us. He'll be back with us next week. Of course, with Scott Haley, Brett Isaacs, Tim Kraft, and Wade Thomas. We appreciate it. This has been WMIX Mount Vernon, a free service from Withers Broadcasting, National Broadcasting Company Radio News. Next.